That's very important. Then here I want to share with one thing. That is human history. In very, very ancient time, no concept of leadership. All members of the community work together, and whatever they get through hunting or through some roots or through some, fruit, they share equally. Then eventually population increasing. So some mischievous people then come. So the concept of leadership come. At that time, no rule of education. So the main sort of quality become leadership, physical strength. Like many animals, the stronger body become leader, like that. So that male dominance start. Then many centuries. Then eventually education developed. So education brought more equal. If both sexes have the equal opportunity, then that brings more equal. Now we are 21st century. Education alone not sufficient. We must have more warm-heartedness. Without sort of compassionate feeling here, education sometimes becoming more destructive. Education alone may bring more trouble, more suffering. So now this is time. We need more attempt, right? More effort to promote warm-heartedness. So under such sort of circumstances or in such sort of period, female, biologically, more potential to bring compassion, affection on this world. Therefore, the female should take more active role regarding promotion of compassionate society. And firstly, in practical level, please, those who are female, please provide maximum affection to your children. And both parents should spend more time with your children. And children should not consider children as an animal, feeding well and give some pocket money and go that way, not that way. You see, provide maximum affection so that these children not only receive tremendous sort of joyful at that moment, but that imprint in their mind, that remain whole life. So that's very, very important. And particularly the female side should take active role for promoting these basic human values. So last year in Vancouver, some discussion with some Nobel laureate and some other sort of panelists. So again, I mentioned that. And Mary Robinson also there. So then I just expressed, some of you may call me as a feminist. So later, Mary Robinson described me as a feminist Dalai Lama. She mentioned like that. So I really feel, the female, because of the biological factor, and also I mentioned it before, even animal, the female side, more sort of sense of others' pain. If I think a whole world leader take by female, then maybe more safer of this world. I don't know. I don't know. Of course, I did too early to do that because it's not yet tested. So, generally speaking, I feel like that. You see, when we look past history, most of the war heroes are male. And also scientists, you see, they notice one person passing through difficulties or painful experiences. Then one male, one female witness. Then the response from the female side, much, much stronger. The biological factor, they say. So there's some reason. You see, in any case, I think female should take a more active role for promotion of compassionate society. So our world, our vision, we should have one vision there. This century should be century of peace, century of dialogue. Peace does not mean no longer any problem, no longer any differences. Differences bound to happen. Then how to develop peace with flow of conflict, right? Differences. Then the method to solving or to facing these differences, that is dialogue. So previously, when differences there, when different interests, different sort of views there, they're using force. Using force is the concept based on the concept of one side victory, one side defeat. According to today's reality, that's impossible. So everything is interdependent. Like the destruction of Saddam Hussein. Carried that sort of policy on the basis of concept of one side victory, one side defeat. But the reality, much complex. So any violent method, unexpected consequences always happen. So using violence is unrealistic method. Realistic method is through non-violence, through dialogue. So therefore, I always expressing 20th century become like a century of bloodshed. According to some historian, during 20th century, more than 200 millions of people killed. And a lot of sort of unhealthy things which we are facing today at the beginning of 21st century. I think traces of previous sort of mistake. So that century becomes century of bloodshed. Now, this century should be century of dialogue. So that should be our goal. Then, for that reason, when we develop certain sort of technique, peaceful resolution, whenever we face some problem, and then using force is no longer relevant. So through that way, eventually we can achieve genuine disarmament on a global level. So in order to carry external disarmament, firstly, we must start from now, internal disarmament. That's, as I mentioned earlier, build genuine sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, entire 6 billion human beings. No longer demarcation, we and they, all part of we. That's the way of inner disarmament. So this will not bring by prayer, but through education. So modern education system, you see, we must carry some because of the serious research work, how to introduce in curriculum,
in education system.
in education system. So here, the secular ethics, secular way is become more important, more crucial, because if the moral ethics based on religion, then in multi-religious community, then what? Next question is what religion? Theistic religion, non-theistic religion. Within theistic, also there are differences. Within non-theistic, also there are differences. So then, complications there. So without touching religion, simply based on human experience, human common sense, and scientific finding. These are universal. So it is very possible. Education, ethics, based on these secular sort of basis. So there are some movement, some effort already there. Like last year in Canada, from Vancouver, Calgary, then Montreal, so all these three places, serious discussion how to introduce moral ethics, secular basis on education system. And particularly Montreal, the many university in Quebec area, they also together, they carry some kind of teachers training, about a few hundred teachers, as how to teach the moral ethics or compassion, these things, without based on religion. So there are people who are really making effort. So hopefully, I think here in New York, big city, if there is some education expert, some serious work, then make some kind of sort of a program, then as an experiment sort of level, some school, say, implement that, then we'll see. If the result good, significant, then 10 schools, then 100 schools. That can be done. If you see experiment, not that much significant positive result, then forget, no problem. So these things I think really worthwhile. Now, everywhere, people, you see, say peace, peace, non-violence. And everywhere, people are fed up about violence. Now we must do something. Just to see complaining and remain without doing nothing. It's wrong. We are human beings. We have this intelligence. And logically, any man-made problem, logically, human beings also have the potential to overcome these things. So that's quite logical. So therefore, there are some problems in even this country, very rich, but some senseless people killing some student or some bully, some unhealthy things. Although I think corruption, either compare like China, I think much cleaner here. But still, now for example, these big companies, they dare to make transparent. Sometimes they something to hide. So the recent economic crisis happened. Out of my curiosity, I asked some of my friends who are businessmen, one Italian. So I asked him, what is the causes of this global economic crisis? And he mentioned to me, greed, speculation. Speculation means without knowing exact, just create some
lot of speculation.
Speculation. And then another my friend, actually advisor of many multi-company, actually with his help, we wrote a book
Together.
about ethics in economy or something. So he told me one cause of this global economic crisis is ignorance. So these, without knowing properly, out of greed, this is some sort of actions they take that brought disaster. And if things right from the beginning transparent, then may not get this much shock. But till last minute, they say, oh, good, nice. So here also, they, due to lack of transparent, unnecessary sort of shocking or sort of difficulties they happen. That's one thing. Yeah. What things? I forget now. So therefore, so many sort of problems actually, yes, here, the corruption, although I think comparatively, I think better, but still, you see, there are problems in this country. So many of them ultimately related with moral principle, honest, truthful, transparent. So these ultimately related with inner strength, self-confidence, honest there, nothing to hide, transparent, truthful, frank. Then, through this way, we can build healthy society, healthy family. Then furthermore, I want to share with Americans now, since my childhood, we have this sort of image of America, champion of democracy, freedom, liberty. So one time, when you see difficult situation about to come in Tibet, at that time we very much hope or some help from America may come. So then wait, nothing happened. So then one old monk expressed, the America kupshi jemne the tazu joyous.
This old man said that
one
monk said that if America had started coming, even by just dragging its butt along the way, by now it should have reached that.
So you see, since childhood, you see, we have the impression America is the liberator, and because it's the champion of freedom, liberty, creativity, these things. So, quite a number of occasions in Washington, when I met some senators and some officials there, I always telling, right from the beginning, I have no sort of particular admiration about the American nuclear weapon, but I admire your principles. Democracy, rule of law, transparent, and freedom of speech, freedom of media, these things. So you must keep in these principles, and not only keep in your own country, but must remind the rest of the world these are basic human value. If nation be successful, human creativity is very essential. Individual creativity is very essential. For that, individual freedom is very, very important. And independent judiciary. My friend, one former president, some scandals, some difficulties. At that time, I looked from the one different angle. Oh, wonderful, America, even president, under law, equal. An Indian Prime Minister also, one former Prime Minister, Narasimha Rao, I don't know what problem, he had to go court. Wonderful. And look at China, impossible. So we must, and particularly now this period, sometimes some people have the impression authoritarian system is better for economic development. I think that is totally wrong. Short term, maybe yes. Like in India, if you want to make a road, each villager, each farmer, you have to listen their complaint. So road go like that. Whereas authoritarian system, you can go straight. Looks easier for temporary. For long run, the authoritarian system without freedom, that really brings stagnation in all fields. So for their own interest, more open sort of society is very, very essential. So people, actually when I met Obama, your president, at that time, I sort of expressed my admiration about America and about him. During Lincoln, the slave change, abolished. Then Luther King, fight for civil right. Now today, the very president of this country, Black American. Oh, wonderful. Because there is democracy, rule of law. Wonderful. So I just expressed my congratulation. Another reason, when announcement of his election, of course, during election, Obama telephoned me, and then also Hillary also telephoned me. Then John Macon, actually, they meet me. So although they didn't ask as a prayer, but in India usually, I have a lot of many of these politicians, because now India is my second home. Last 51 years, India is my home. So 2/3 of my life spent in India. Naturally, many friends among Indian politicians. So one politician come, ask me prayer. Another politician, opposite party, come, prayer. So then I say, oh yes, I pray. But actually, one of them have to lose. So sometimes it's difficult to pray or promise pray for their election. Difficult. So in any way, when the announcement came, I was in South India, Pune. The Gandhian, big international Gandhian meeting taking place. So they invited me. I was also there. So during one session, someone told the gathering, the Obama elected. So all these Gandhian, sometimes old Indian Gandhians, their attitude was West, a little bit
critical.
A little bit of distance. But then, that moment, everybody stand and then making that.
Clap.
So I very much impressed. Oh, the election of America, the Obama, because Black American. So some kind of sort of impression, positive impression, even reach India. Those a little bit hardliner. So like that. So therefore, I mentioned to Obama. So then I mentioned recently some articles. You see, mentioned American economy go this way, the Chinese economy go this way. So eventually America will diminish or something. Then I told, I reminded him, President, the recent Indian Prime Minister's sort of expression, People's Republic of China, in the economy field, more advanced. India remain behind. But India have other fundamental values, democracy, rule of law, free information, transparent, these things. He mentioned this, I think, very right. So America, world, particularly America, should not neglect about these basic values. This is very, very important. So in order to bring happy society, these basic values are key factor. So you must